Alright guys, a couple years ago I did a video called Whither Verb, and it's possibly the video that actually got the least amount of views and no feedback and comments or Twitter replies or anything, which is a shame because actually, to me at least, it's one of the most exciting because it was a real discovery. Admittedly, Verb is not necessarily the most popular artist alongside, like if I was Biggie Smalls or something like that, and I wouldn't hold him up to that, even artistically. I'm not saying, oh, you guys just don't know. But still, he's a really talented, underappreciated artist. And in that video, which if you see this one, I recommend you go back and watch the first one, so I'm not going to totally just summarize it. You can watch the first one again. But I found what essentially amounted to be, I believe, the remnants, and a good chunk of remnants, like a whole bunch of songs from what was an otherwise unreleased album from Verb, the only album by Verb that would have been released in piecemeal over various compilations all by the record label Lil Joe Records. Been re-releasing tracks from that album, probably without even realizing that this is some unreleased gem, in piecemeal on various compilations. So there'd be a song here and a song there. And by finding all these completely generic, otherwise totally worthless, uninteresting compilation albums from Lil Joe Records, I put together like half an album maybe. Well, granted, maybe less than half an album, because a bunch of the songs were like songs from compilations which were probably recorded for those compilations, like the song with JT Money on that LaFace compilation, or even the Ringmaster song. That was possibly recorded for Ringmaster, because at least one or two of those songs were recorded for Ringmaster, Ringmaster being the soundtrack to the Jerry Springer Show movie. Right? Well, most of that was just, old basic hip-hop songs and lots of catalog stuff that Lil Joe had. It was just sort of a cheap soundtrack. But the Two Live Crew recorded a song specifically for that, and so it's possible the Verb song was also recorded specifically for that, and I think a little more credence is added to that notion because I mentioned in the first video, but I didn't show you guys, it was released as a 12-inch single, and here it is. So this is Verb, his only 12-inch single, Where the Party At. It's Verb featuring Brother Marquise of the Two Live Crew, and this 12-inch single is like a proper one. It gives you the radio, the explicit version, the acapella, and the instrumental. So this is really the only proper Verb single. Everything else is just a guest appearances by other people. Of course, he was on like Scarred, like a real Miami classic again with Trick Daddy and Luke. He had another hit single, Go On With Yourself, with Trick Daddy. So he's been in the game for a long time, and as a really respectable artist, I mean, he's often the MC who outshone everybody else on the tracks he was on. When he's on stuff like Freestyle with Luke and guys like the Home Team and Poison Clan and Clay Vossier and those guys, although some of those were dope lyricists as well. So Verb is really an exciting, compelling artist, and he just completely never had his moment to shine, which is why I guess there was no interest in him then, and no interest in my video more recently. But anyway, I'm back doing Whither Verb Part 2 because I made one more additional discovery. Once I'd sort of caught on that Lil Joe was releasing these Verb songs on these random compilations, which I showed you last time, like that Pimps Plays and Hustlers Sing and all that kind of stuff, of course I checked out every random Lil Joe compilation album there was, which is a big feat because there's a lot. And I found all the songs, and I put together a presentation, which was my first video. But I've also been keeping my eye out for any other Lil Joe compilation albums, because again, because they're so generic, they're like these sort of Where the Party At rap albums. They feature just all the same old songs. I mean, like, they must have re-released certain Poison Clan and Two Live Crew songs 100 times, over 100 different albums. It's really generic. I can't imagine those things kept selling after a while. But I've been keeping an eye out, and I found one more. This one, Hip Hop Classics, Players from the Underground. This is such a weird random compilation. Now, yes, of course, right away it features a whole bunch of stock Luke Records catalog, now owned by Lil Joe stuff. Two Live Crew is on here twice. Indo G and Lil Blunt, Bust Down, stuff you'd expect. Then you got some more, not really their own stuff, which is interesting. It's not just their own catalog stuff, but licensed stuff, but things that sort of fit in, like Pac Jam by the Johnson Crew, and, an early Mantronics track. And then there's sort of really major hip-hop that they must have spent a lot of money, you would think, to license. There's shit here like Gangster's Paradise by Coolio. There's Me, Myself, and I by De La Soul. This came out in 2001, by the way, so all these tracks are old. But still, Dimples D is on here. I mean, I don't think that was expensive to license, but Dimples D and Coolio, like, what a weird, bizarre compilation album. When you get to the last record, there's 5 songs in a row by, never heard of these guys before, T Smalls / Big Balls, which I think is 2 MCs. Who are they? I have no idea. Their name is ridiculous. They're actually not terrible. I mean, they're sort of generic. They sound like sort of like an artist that Mike Fresh would have worked on, but not been that psyched about. And production-wise, maybe some sort of throwaway tracks. You know what I mean? Like, not really Mike Fresh tracks, but in that sort of vein, a little bit more kind of gangstery, G-funky, mainstream, you know, outside hip-hop producers looking at hip-hop from the outside and emulating that kind of stuff. I have no idea who these guys are, but they have 5 songs in a row. This is a complete random compilation. You know, Coolio, De La Soul, Dimples D, Mantronics, 2 Live Crew, G, and all of a sudden T Smalls / Big Balls, 5 songs in a row. So I'm not going to play you clips because fuck them. But anyway, after all of that, finally the very last song on this album, after having 5 of those songs in a row, Mad at the Game by Verb. So this, again, I believe, is a song that would have been on his unreleased album. I think this really, it doesn't sound like it was recorded for anything else. I really doubt it was recorded for this thing. So I'm sure this was just something they had in their vaults that they just threw together, stuck on here, and it's produced by, listen to this, everybody else, even T Smalls / Big Balls have, you know, quasi-legit producers. I mean, I don't know who produced them. Michael Owens, I mean, I'm not really sure who he is, but at least it's a name. Because listen to this. Mad at the Game, produced by Landmark Entertainment Committee. What? I mean, other, you know, Verb songs are produced by, like, legit guys like Mike Fresh and, you know, DJ Toomp or something. The Landmark Entertainment Committee, I have a feeling what that means is some real producer did not get his credit. So anyway, though, it's a dope track. It's not mind-blowingly awesome. Like, this is not the track if you're like, oh, okay, you're telling me about this Verb guy. Who is this Verb guy? You're saying he's this great, underappreciated artist? Well, play me a song by him and blow my mind. Well, it's not that. It's, you know, this would have been a good song on the album. A solid album filler kind of track, but definitely not a single. Definitely not something where you'd say, okay, here's Verb. You know, I mean, if you want to find out here's Verb, listen to 2 Live Freestyle, listen to Scarred. But still, it's a really dope track, and for someone like me who's really excited and tracking down Verb stuff, I mean, and, you know, this brings us really close to putting together what would be a really solid, good album. And of course, I will play you clips of this.
This world has got me going crazy. Struggle I maintain daily. Niggas and bitches try to fade me. Tell me, Lord, could you save me from all the jealousy and envy? My best friend could be my enemy. So when I bust, I got no sympathy. I'm getting him before he get to me. They try to blackball us and hide us from the public like a government cover-up, corrupted on some fuck shit. Justice don't exist when the police slang keys and frame us. So the judges blame us. I just slang raps to jokes and aim high when they came back. Not drop dope on wax and aim for platinum. We coming for millions this time. It's really on. There's a rat and Verb serving the bomb. What the deal, son? You know my clique, short niggas with big dicks. Fuck what you thought. You leaving with more niggas than New York. I know some bitches like to bust when they snort. But when nigga testify, they bust them in court. They smoke a Newport. I'll call them hen hoes, one black, one white. Quick to fuck a nigga if they get on right. Chocolate, sparkle, stick niggas up in the dark a lot. Stuck a Cuban for 6 bricks in the parking lot. That's how a nigga got rich. 6 in the morning, fast at my door. Cop the K, Nike squeak across the floor to flush the gate. They heard of my connections with Cubans who got blocks just blowing up. Their bodies in Mississippi showing up. Miles with slow leaks from squeal we kill. Disappear like David Copperfield when I clock the steel. Try to come between my bitches in this crack game. I make you niggas vanish like Houdini to this rap game. Yeah, this brother got me going crazy. Double I maintain daily. Niggas and bitches try to pay me. Tell me, Lord, could you save me from all the jealousy and envy? My best friend could be my enemy. So when I bust, I got no sympathy.
see, that Verb's verses were actually pretty tight. If you notice, there's 2 MCs on there. They're one rhyming first in each. They're kind of rhyming in pairs. So 1, 2, hook, 1, 2, hook, 1, 2, hook. And whoever comes first is some uncredited guest MC. They don't say his name, and I have no idea who it is. But the second MC is verse, and I found they both came tight, but verse came a bit tighter there. But I think that's actually a really tight track. He really kills it. Verb kills it vocally. The instrumental is pretty solid. It's not exceptional, but it's good. So that's it. That's really all I got to say. Because, I mean, if you don't know the full story, just go watch Whither Verb 1. Give it a few view counts. Breathe some life into it. But that's the whole Verb story with this new addendum that there's at least one more. And who knows, is there even more out there? You know, you look at their catalog numbers and there's gaps in their catalog numbers. You're like, alright, there are some other releases, I don't know what the hell they are, and they turn out to be things like this. So possibly there's another one with another Verb track out there. Possibly, even probably, there are promo copies maybe of an entire Verb album. That would be awesome. But maybe not. They might not have even bothered to send out promo. I never saw any reviews or ads or anything for a Verb album. Usually when you see the promo copies of unreleased albums, their albums have been hyped like Young Z. You know, he had 2 singles. He had a really poor, unfortunately, review in the source. Verb, nothing. Never got to that stage. So he probably just recorded the stuff and it didn't even, maybe he didn't even finish the album. But that's as far as it got, unfortunately. But Verb definitely should have had his shot. Say what you will about Verb, he's definitely better than an awful lot of MCs coming out from his era and his time and his area that had a lot more success. He's a good artist, and this is a pretty good song. So, I'm happy about it. And if you're interested, the great news is these things can be picked up for like $1 anywhere. So till next time, this is Whither Von Wallenrod, saying peace out.